Hello everyone and welcome back to this PHA Pro Tip. My name is Jose Vega and in this episode I'm going to show you how to quickly create trees inside Blender. So let's check it out. Alright, so here we are in Blender and what we're going to do first is actually just create a cube here. And what I'm going to do is go to edit mode. And then I'm going to select all my vertices and then I'm going to merge them all as center. So I only have one vertex here in the center. And right now I'm just going to extrude on the Z axis and go up. So now what I have is two vertices and an edge, right? I don't have any polygons, just two vertices and an edge. And once I have this, I go back to object mode. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my modifiers here and I'm going to apply two modifiers. And the first one is going to be a skin, right? So now what that does is sort of like it creates a skin over what I have, which is the edge. So if I go to edit mode and I put my X-ray vision here, I can still see my original edge and two vertices. And this sort of polygon cube look here is what the skin is right now, right? So now after the skin, I'm going to add another modifier, which is going to be a subdivision surface. And I'm going to keep this the same here like this. And so now what I'm going to do is I am going to create a new plane and this is going to simulate my ground level, right? And we're going to start creating our tree here. And this way of doing the tree here is very cool because it's non-destructive. I still have my modifiers applied and I can just create a bunch of different shapes here for my tree. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select my first vertex down here. I'm going to move that down just past the ground here. And the shortcut that you want to keep in mind here is Control A. And Control A, what it's going to do is sort of scale these vertices to make it bigger or smaller, right? So I select this vertex and if I press Control A, is as if I was scaling the skin modifier there, right? If I try to scale it by pressing S, nothing happens. So I have to use Control A, right? So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go to X-ray mode here so I can see my vertices. And now I'm gonna start moving and extruding these vertices as I create the shape that I want for my tree, right? So I'm using E for extruding, Control A to scaling, and I'm using G to move my vertices here, right? I'm just gonna create something, just something pretty simple here. And I'm gonna go here and then E again. And the cool thing about this is I can select these two, right click, subdivide, and that's gonna create a new vertex in the middle there. And then from there I can extrude, and then I create another sort of branch of the tree here. So let's actually move this here and let's scale this. We don't need to save. And then from there, let's just continue extruding here. Now, depending on the type of tree, that's all gonna be determined by your references and what you want to do, but you can follow your references and do all that. So let's continue creating some here. And I'm always rotating the camera just so it doesn't look too straight up. So it goes in different angles and it has some sort of curve and all that, just so it looks a little bit more interesting here. And let's actually go down here. Let's scale this a little bit here. And something that you can also do is you can select your proportional editing here, and then you can play with that and sort of play with the overall shape as you move these vertices around. The cool thing also is that I can select these, Control Shift D to duplicate, right? And now you can see that I duplicated those vertices, which doesn't look like too much right now. But what you can do is I'm gonna rotate these, scale them, and now I'm gonna select this vertex and this vertex. I'm gonna press F for fill, and then now I have another branch in there. And then I can scale these, and let's move some of these around a little bit more. So you can see now how you can quickly create some very simple meshes for trees here. Let's move this here a little bit. Move that there. And you can continue adding more branches, however you want to construct your own tree here. But one thing that you can do is let's right click here and do shade smooth. So because we see these polygons, if you do shade smooth here, nothing is happening because we have to actually apply the skin. So this that you see here becomes the actual mesh, because right now all we have is the skeleton, and we gotta apply the skin modifier for us to be able to smooth this. So we want to make sure that all the branches that we got and the whole tree is actually sort of finished, so we can actually start doing other things to it. So let's just say that this is your mesh, you're happy with it, and you're ready to move on, add to it, sculpt on it, whatever it is that you want to do. But let's say that's your tree, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate this just so we're safe. And this is going to be our original one. And from here, what I'm going to do is actually I'm just going to apply all these modifiers. And I want to take it to a different level here. And I'm just going to apply all the modifiers. So now if I go to edit mode, now this is my mesh here, right? And I'm going to shade smooth that. And I'm going to go to my vertex group here, normals, auto smooth, because I still want to have some sort of edging here, because I want to have some sort of stylized type of tree here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to add another modifier, subdivision, right, which is our first modifier. And then I am going to add a displace modifier. Now we're going to bring the strength quite a lot. So let's do 0.1, and the mid-level, skip it to 1. And I'm going to create a new texture that is going to be applied as our displaced. And we're going to go to the texture, and let's actually just let's try Musgrave here. And actually let's try some distorted noise. Yep. And now you can play with the modifiers here, just to kind of maybe come up with another level of detail that you can add to your mesh here. And the cool thing about this is that it is all, you know, if I don't like it, I just turn it off, right? It's non-destructive. So, but I want to actually add just some sort of texture to this. And this is where you can just sort of play with the different options here and sort of see what you can get. You can get, you know, multiple options here. But let's try. Let's go back to our here, and let's do 0 here. So now you can see we can have multiple options, and we can add multiple effects to our texture tree here. So now I have a little bit variation on the thickness of the different branches, right? And you can always keep playing with the different types of textures. You can add your own textures to this, your own image, but you can also just use the ones that Blender provides, and you can go as crazy as you want depending on what you're trying to do. But you'll get an idea of sort of the different things that you could do. And just to give you an option, a look here, these are some of the trees that I already did that has this trying to go for a little bit more stylized look to this. And so you can see that you can have multiple different results with all the different textures and all that. If you want to keep it simple, you can just do it like this. And the cool thing about this is that you can just duplicate this, and then you can, you know, either delete or move around your vertices to create another version of the tree, and you can create multiple versions pretty easily. All right, so that was it. Really simple, and I hope you guys learned something, and I'll see you guys on the next one.